Every day is a fresh opportunity to create the life you love. Hey guys, it's Jen. This is Reframing Me, and today we are continuing on our goal setting journey together. If you haven't already listened to parts 1 and 2, pause me and go back and listen. We'll wait here for you. In part 1, we began manifesting our futures. A goal is a dream with a deadline. So in part 1, we just let ourselves start to dream. And then in part 2, we created our life wheel. So we looked at the 8 universal primary areas of our lives to see where we were starting from. That way, we were able to look at how much energy we were putting into each area and how much satisfaction we were getting out of it. A kind of, are you getting enough bang for your buck type of thing. Well, today, it's so exciting. We get to start setting those goals. I know that looking at that life wheel is a bit daunting. There are a lot of areas. I will be honest, I know that I am totally overwhelmed with this project. It's kind of like, damn it, why did I even start this? What made me think that this was manageable? I got everybody into this. But I got everybody into this for a reason. And I will be damned if I am not going to follow through. And I'm going to get us out of this. So buckle up, Buttercup. We are doing this. The bite-sized pieces that I've been giving you, they're going to get even more focused, okay? Because we are only going to talk about one part of that life wheel at a time. And that way you can totally pace yourself however you need to. And every day is a fresh opportunity to create the life that we love. When we are setting goals, we want to be sure to set goals that we can control, because if it's outside of our control, we won't be able to control whether or not we actually achieve it. So be realistic about what you can and cannot be directly responsible for. Now, trying to accomplish goals entirely by yourself can be a bit lonely and a lot overwhelming. One of the best ways to accomplish goals is to be held accountable by sharing your goal with others. So, at the very base level of this, you can hold yourself accountable just by writing them down. Hold future you accountable to past you. You don't want to let her down, right? We talked about sharing this journey with your teen, or share it with a friend, or share it with me. I'd love to hear your goals. So, because we are a family communication podcast, we are starting with family. Now, remember, we're working under the assumption that most of y'all are moms like me, so family is a primary area for you too. If you're a teen or for any reason you decided to combine up with social relationships and just have a relationships area, totally good. Just pick and choose what works for you here. And actually, family goals are a really easy set to share because you can let your family know what you are trying to achieve. And I'm guessing that if it involves good things for them, they will for sure hold you accountable, right? I know that most of us, we totally put our families right at the very top of our priority list. But life is so busy, right? And we get so caught up in all of the day to day, and it's super easy to watch months just slip by without a spare second of actual family time. You know what I mean, right? Like, despite the fact that you may all live in the house together and you drive kids and pick kids up and remind them of homework and ask them to do things around the house, and you're cooking for them and they're eating, and you're cooking for them and you're eating, and you're doing laundry and passing them in the halls and scooching their feet over on the couch and picking up 100 pairs of shoes, despite the fact that they seem to always wear the same shoes. You coordinate plans with your husband and you sit with him at the high school basketball game and you hear him in the other room watching TV. But yet, despite all of these family interactions, you haven't really had any actual family time in ages. Y'all are just like 4 or 5 ships passing in the night, right? That's how I feel we are sometimes. Of course, I work at home, so I am the constant. I think constant sounds a lot better than recluse, which is what my husband says I am, but Anyway, I am the constant, and there is pretty much always like one or two other people here, but they're never the same people. Like, as one leaves, someone else comes in. Then that person leaves and someone else comes in. Or then it'll be like, oh my gosh, we're all going to be here. And I'll get I'm going to meet whoever. Or then their friends will walk in the door, and next thing you know, there's like seven ships. So, yeah, without planning, it is really easy to let our, I mean, what are we going to call them? Family time kind of thing. But I guess we'll quote family can slip through the cracks despite those day to day operations of our family consuming our lives. Does that even make sense? Okay. Well, that is exactly why we need family goals. So we can nurture happy and healthy relationships with our family and give everyone what they need and deserve. Because even though our partners and children are the most important people to us, they're often the ones we most take for granted, right? Especially when we see them day in and day out. And we have talked about this before about how we often even displace our frustrations or our anger or our exhaustion. We displace those onto them. So, these family relationships require nurturing and caring and planning. And if you do that, you can give your family a better chance at meaningful interactions and a better future. Okay, so I asked you to think about this a bit already. I asked you, how much of your energy does this area of your life take up? How happy are you in your family? How is your relationship with your partner? How do you feel as a mother, a daughter, a sister? Are you giving enough time to your family and children? Is your partner supportive of you? And are you supportive of them? Do you feel loved and supported by family? That was a good jumping off point, right? So from there, now you can start thinking about the big goals, the long term ones, the overall goals. Get together your main ideas, and then you can worry about making them smart. These could be to travel together as a family all over the world, to invest in education, to foster your partner's business, to create an atmosphere for a healthy lifestyle. Spend quality time together as a family or as a couple. Foster close sibling bonds. Highlight the importance of intergenerational relationships and extended family. Be respectful of each other and each other's choices. Put family first. It can be anything, but you're going to start with those ideas. Once you have your list, now don't overwhelm yourself, especially if this is your first goal or first go around at goal setting, okay? Maybe 3 to 5. I mean, you can certainly do more, but you remember that you are going to have a series of smaller objectives to reach each of these goals. So don't force them. See how many feel natural and important and manageable. Then you need to go back to the idea of making them smart, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Okay, so I will walk you through one of mine to try to clarify where you're headed with this. I have always had the dream of traveling the world with my family. I can remember when I was a brand new professor, it would have been about 16 years ago now, 17 years ago. My oldest was a tiny baby, and I had a student who was going on a safari with her family. She was like, told me how she was going to have to miss a couple of days of class. And I said, oh, okay, why? And she's like, I'm going on a safari. I'm like, oh my God. Safari is like one of my total bucket list trips. Okay. So, first of all, to start with, and then to listen to her tell me that her parents always took them on all of these trips together, so that she had to miss these couple of classes because her siblings were at different universities or whatever. And I just thought, oh my God, that seems so amazing. At that point in time, I could only dream of being like those parents and having all of their college age kids come back together for an incredible, adventuresome trip. I was a young, brand new professor. We had a newborn. We were living absolutely paycheck to paycheck in a house we really couldn't afford. Our idea of a vacation was driving 13 hours to Ohio to see family. So, yeah, exotic travel was a dream. But I set the goal for my family that I would take them all over. We would see and do and experience as much as we possibly could see and do and experience together. So, specific might be go on family vacations each year to new places. Measurable, well, like it's pretty easy to measure if you have gone on a vacation that year. Attainable, with one baby and then with two and then with three, African safari was clearly not attainable to us. But what was attainable to us were things like using the excuse of a work conference, which meant subsidized plane fare and hotel, and that two of our babies were still able to sit on our laps on the flight. So that was attainable. And so we took our very first family vacation to LA for a conference with a baby and a toddler with us. We went to Disneyland and to the San Diego Zoo and the Aquarium of the Pacific. That was attainable. Or driving back from Ohio through Pennsylvania with three tiny little ones to add Sesame Place to the trip to make an Ohio visit actually a family vacation. No, the adventurous travel overseas that we do now was totally not attainable for us then, but it is now. African safari is still just a bit down the road for us, though. Okay, relevant. Relevant is pretty clear on this one, right? My goal is to take my family all over the world to see and do and experience things. And annual travel is totally relevant to that goal. And time bound, yes, I have set the yearly time frame for us. But even beyond that, I've always known that a lot of travel kind of has an expiration date, right? Like Sesame Place, Great Wolf Lodge. Those are ships that have sailed for my family. And I am so glad that we went to those places when they were little. All right. My daughter, she was 8 the first time that we went to Europe. So they would have been 8, 9, and 11. And that was when I felt like they were finally big enough to kind of manage a trip like that. But things like whitewater rafting, I didn't try with them until they were 11, 12, and 14, I believe. Now, we still haven't made it to Africa, Egypt, safari, South Africa, all on my list, but those seem like trips that are time bound for when they get to be college age. So, yeah, the time component fits. You can see how that goal fits the SMART framework, right? Long term, there's the goal. And then you would have your smaller goals or objectives towards that long term goal. And then you make even smaller action items to get there. It's called a goal ladder. Okay. So a goal ladder is like you would write your main goal at the top rung and you work your way through the rest of the ladder steps as you write the smaller objectives that you need to reach your main goal. And the bottom rung of it is your like right now action item. So, my short term objectives towards this overall family goal is to this year take both a spring break trip and a summer vacation. Because with my oldest going to college and now he's going to be on a different schedule than the others, I know that we'll still travel, but I also realize the fact that coordinating schedules only gets harder and harder. So, I am going to take advantage of this time of being on the same schedule and actually get both of those trips in this year. So that is my objective. Now, my daily action is to do some searching and research our options. Then I will have the action of booking and then all of the steps of planning the trips. So each action gets more and more specific, but they are all building to the larger objective of taking both spring and summer vacations. And that builds to my larger goal of taking them all over the world to see and do and experience as much as we can together. Okay. Now, another goal for many of us is something along the lines of like investing in education or prioritizing education. So, this might include a financial component of like saving for kids' college or a time commitment of going back to school for one you or your partner, or investing in private schools for your kids, or prioritizing the importance of good grades over all else. But you would set objectives towards your goal. Maybe the overall goal of investing in and prioritizing education has the smaller objectives of instilling the importance of hard work in school and importance of good grades, with measurable goals of what that means to you and what school you might maybe enroll your child in order to set that standard, or maybe what you save each paycheck to put away for education. Many of us have goals for our family that are related to open communication or healthy lifestyle choices. For any of them, you would set the overall goal, making sure that it was specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And then take it down to smaller objectives for, say, this year or over 6 months or whatever it is that works for you. And then what actions do you need to take this month or in this 3-month time period or whatever to work towards it? And what actions do you need to make to start to this week or this month? Each one getting down smaller and smaller. So, like for us, I have always had the overall goal of a family that has healthy lifestyle choices. Okay. And so I am trying to get us back on like eating healthier food again. Okay. During COVID, we ate so healthy. Of course, there were no activities, fewer responsibilities, very little commitment. And that meant more time for me to cook. So I made everything healthy and fresh. Okay. Well, obviously, that has fallen to the wayside as everything has picked up again. At first, I was still trying to cook that way, but it was a lot of pressure for me. And honestly, it didn't fit our life and it didn't fit our schedules. So, my very overall goal of creating a healthy environment and lifestyle for my family needs to become smart with my focus on healthy eating, all the way down to my action item that is currently or recently. My action item is to meal prep healthy items that everyone can draw from for meals, regardless of their appetites or their preferences or their schedules. Now, like we said, the great majority of goals that you have for your family are probably ones that will have the greatest chance of success if you share them. So, share them with your partner, share them with your kids, even if you don't explain the whole ladder process to them. Or even if your main goal, make it clear what you are going to be doing and why and how they can help. So, like, I want to have them have these regular healthy food options around basically on demand. And to get there, I have the action item each week of prepping food to include in this. But it is exhausting to try to come up with what other people would possibly want to hypothetically eat when they are potentially hungry. Okay. I have some ideas, yes, but I'm a vegetarian. I don't enjoy cooking. I don't enjoy eating. I mean, I would be thrilled if we could all live on protein bars and smoothies. But alas, that is not an option. So I have recently had the action item of creating a shared note so that everyone can add potential items to include in my weekly meal prep. Okay. That was my bottom rung to work up to meal prepping, to build to the healthy eating goal, to build to the making health a priority for my family. Now, that we will see how it goes and if anyone actually adds ideas to the list. But realistically, even if they don't, I'm still on track towards my family goal with the meal prepping alone. So I am not dependent on others to attain my goal because, like we said earlier, our goals shouldn't be dependent on others. But one of the best ways to accomplish our goals is through that accountability. And these family goals are the excellent ones that we can be held accountable for by bringing our family into our process of goal setting. Okay, I think you have everything that you need to start setting those family goals. In our next part, we'll talk about your goals for social relationships. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you're finding this helpful. If you are, please share it with others who might also enjoy this journey. Reach out to me, share your thoughts and your journeys. I would love to hear what goals you are setting for yourself. Email me, jen@reframing-me.com. Reach out on socials, on TikTok and Instagram, it's Reframing Me. And on Facebook, it's Reframing Me, and join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community. Remember, every day is a fresh opportunity to create the life we love. Until next time, be well and communicate.